Gemma from Gemma and Company, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about some herbs, specifically parsley for this video. It's a really nice herb to grow. I love growing parsley. It's not always a favourite, I don't find, in cooking. It used to be more for that cheesy 90s style garnish. I know some people still do it, but it's what I always remember because I worked in a pub and that was always the easy go-to. Throw some parsley on it, make it look fancy. But in regards to an edible herb, I don't think it is used as much as what it could be. I actually have grown to appreciate parsley, and I think it's because it's so easy to grow. So this year I actually have grown mine from seed. Normally I will just actually go to a nursery, local garden centre, and pick some up, which is what I did here. I bought these two here. So I have a curly leaf variety, and then this is a flat leaf variety. So you can see the difference in the two with the leaf. They're actually easy to distinguish between the two. Flat leaf is actually harder to distinguish against this and cilantro or coriander if you're in the UK. And that's because it looks very similar, but the moment you taste it, smell it, you'll know it's not. They're very different. So I tend to grow the curly leaf. I just like the look of it. I think it looks cool. I like the taste of it too because it is actually a lot milder in flavour. It's not as strong as the Italian. If you love the taste of parsley, then go for your Italian flat leaf. If you're new to parsley, you're not quite sure of the flavour, then I would do curly, which is what I do. I love parsley, I love growing it. It's not my favourite flavour, but I love to use it. Now, I love to use it because I will add it to any time I make a broth. So say if I'm cooking down my chicken bones, I will throw parsley in. If I'm making sauces, I will add parsley. I will pair parsley, I find, with any type of Mediterranean herb. Even though this one technically isn't a Mediterranean herb, it does go really nicely when you're adding oregano or basil or rosemary. Parsley just adds this background note that you don't quite know is there, but it does make a difference in your cooking. So if you don't already, add your parsley. Just throw it in. It's not going to alter the flavour like rosemary will really alter it. Oregano will really alter it, but parsley doesn't. It just adds that nice little background note. Bit like what a bay leaf does. We don't quite know what a bay leaf is there for, but we know it makes a difference. So definitely grow it or use it for that. The reason why I love to grow it though is because it is so easy. Once you have it in a position that it likes, it just does it all for you. So unlike cilantro or basil or other herbs, mint even, when that can just take over getting in the right position, parsley just grows and it's wonderful as long as you give it certain things. So give it good amount of water, good amount of drainage, not too hot situation, so give it a little bit of shade. It will take the morning and early afternoon sun, but none of that like later after when it gets really hot. Try and protect it at that point. And also deep root. So parsley is part of the carrot family, so what that means is it needs deep root. Think of a taproot, think of a carrot. It has this point. Parsley grows the same way, so it will need deep. So once it gets into that situation, it will grow nice and big and you can harvest big bunches of it. It is also classed as a biennial, which means it will last for 2 years. I've found if it's a really hard frost here, so we live in BC, Canada. It's on the west coast of Canada. It gets really hot in the summer, and the winters aren't super cold, but every now and again we'll get these crazy cold snaps, which it doesn't really like to take. But other than that, it will take a lot of cold. But with the second year, the leaves won't be quite as flavorful or sweet as they were in the first year, but they are still very usable. Into that second year, it will try and flower. So it's what that does. It sends off like a thick shoot, and that will produce flowers. You can keep cutting those thick shoots back just to try and encourage a little bit more of the leaf, because those thicker stalks with any of the leaves on those, they're just bitter. You don't want to eat those. But essentially at that point, it will keep doing that until the plant is done. But otherwise, yeah, you'll get a good full season, long run. Now, as I said, this year I did do them from seed. So the seeds I have used this year, again, it's a curly variety. This is a local seed company called West Coast Seeds, and I'm doing a forest green parsley. They do say they can take a little bit of time to germinate, and they did compare to other herbs, but I've also found if you put them with a heat, like a grow heat mat, put them there in a nice bright situation, they will germinate pretty good. You don't need to soak the seeds. I don't find it makes a big difference in germination, to be honest, as long as you keep your soil nice and moist. Now I will put them into trays, a bit like, let's see, anything like this. I can't really take this off, but you can see it's a deeper tray, and I will put my seeds in there. These are now what I had started. They're getting a little bit leggy because I had them below, so I've moved them up to the top, but they'll bush out. I'm not too concerned about that. What I did do was I made them individual. So when you buy them from any nursery, or you can also buy plants from the supermarket, you'll see that the plant is so bunched up. There's like so many plants in there. This one personally, I will probably divide into 3. So when I take it out the pot, so say if I was to squish this, take it out, I'll take this clump and I will literally just break it. I can do that right now, I'll show you. I will break that into 2 or 3 pieces and plant those pieces, because you do have individual plants, and those individual plants want space. So that's the problem. We all buy these nicely and great, we plunk them in the ground, they grow, but they don't grow like they should. You can get a lot more if you give them space. So split them and put them in. I also did that with my basil, which I will show you on my basil video when it comes out. So that is what I will do with these clumps. Otherwise, if you grow them yourself, you have a lot more control to be able to split them and grow them. You can see this guy's even shooting up from the bottom. He'll be fine. They will bush out, and you get a lot more plants for that. So these seeds took probably around 2 weeks to germinate. I had them inside with a grow light and a heat mat, and they grew just fine. The seeds themselves are actually easy to plant. They are quite small, but not as small as, yeah, if you can see, sorry, there they are. Sorry about my horrible hands, but there they are. So they're small, but they're not as small as some seeds. They're actually quite easy just to pick up individually. If you put them on your palm of your hand, and just, you can have a lot more control when you sow them when they're a little bit bigger. When they're really small, like oregano and thyme, you have to just sprinkle those in as thinly as you can because they're way too small, whereas parsley does have a little bit of growth. If you do, I didn't put this in my blog, but if you do choose to harvest your parsley or different seeds, just be careful. I know with carrot seed, they can cause a bit of irritation or rash, so just put some gloves on if you're going to be harvesting those seeds. I've never done it with parsley, so I won't vouch for that, but I do know with carrots and other ones of those family, there's something in them that can irritate your skin, so just be cautious of that. Like I said, I didn't put that in the post, but I will say it here. What else with parsley? Parsley is also really good if you wanted to substitute out for basil, instead of using basil in pesto. So you can use parsley instead of that for pesto. You can add it into chicken Alfredo sauce. Like, so an Alfredo sauce is typically, some recipes will call for all these other herbs, so technically Alfredo is a parsley based sauce, and if you just add parsley to it, it's a really, really good sauce to have. Let me just see what else I have to say. Sorry. Okay, so in regards to herbology, parsley is very rich in iron, vitamin A and vitamin C, just like anything within that carrot family. So very good for you in those regards. Again, problems that you may have are some aphids, stem rot, leaf spot, carrot fly, things that are staying within that family. I've never had an issue. I think certain climates may make a difference depending on where you live. You're susceptible to that. Also, I find a lot of plants will have problems if you don't if you don't maintain their watering schedule properly. So if you overwater, they sit in water, they're not going to be happy. If they're too dry and then they get wet and dry and wet, if that's not what they like, when you put a plant under stress, I find that's when I get problems. But otherwise, if they stay healthy, then you don't really have a problem. So yeah, give parsley a go. See how you like it. Any more tips that you have that you'd like to share with me, please leave them below. Bye.